Okay, so thank you so much, for everyone for joining in. My name is Karan, and today I'll be, talking about integrating the Google Assistant for continuous integration. Before I begin with my presentation, I would like to thank the entire team of the Mobile DevOps Summit for, giving me this opportunity to present my talk. So thank you so much. So here's a brief background about me. So I have been actually working primarily as a mobile developer on the Android platform for the past 5 plus years now. I've been involved mainly in developing B2C and B2B based applications. I've also worked on cutting edge technologies like AI, AR, and VR. And more recently, I've been dabbling with DevOps and involved in a couple of DevOps based implementations. And I would say, apart from being passionate about technology, I also love writing poems, traveling to different places across the globe, and meeting new people. So that's about me in a nutshell. Now, before we come to the main topic of the presentation, we need to understand certain terminologies. And many of these terms, or quite of these terms, is something that you already are aware or might be using in your day-to-day life. So the first thing is something called as agile. Now, agile development is something that's not new, and it has been there ever since it was introduced in the Agile Manifesto, a couple of decades back. Now, today they say that agile development is winning. So why is that? Because agile projects, most software projects are agile, and they provide better quality. They help to improve the efficiency, and most importantly, they are result oriented. So one actually wait till the frag end to get the end product, but can view the results in phases. Now, the second part, it talks about the culture of continuous integration. Now, this itself also is not something new, but it has been there for quite some time now. The main thing is that here we try to integrate all our assets, all our source code into one common repository, and we apply the best software engineering practices on them in order to basically streamline all the tasks and make the results more visible. But the thing that excites me today is about voice first technologies. Now, voice first technologies are said to be the next big thing. So the why is that said to be the next big thing? Because voice first is more natural. So if you ask me today, like what is the best way by which one can solve a problem, I would say it's conversation. So let's try to understand more about this. So we all love data, right? So we all are we are all data hungry people, and we want to see a lot of facts being put out. And here's a quick check on that. So Gartner, a popular which is a popular research organization, is predicting that 25% of digital workers will use virtual employee assistants daily by 2021. So this itself has was a huge prediction, and it also predicts that by 2023 25% of all the employee interactions with with which will happen which it will happen with applications which will have via voice. So this is again something that it's a big prediction that Gartner has made, and it's quite evident from the way things are moving on right now. However, as developers, we all have certain problems, right? So we all face a lot of problems. So what are the problems that as software developers we face? So as software developers, we are no longer working in those simple projects, or nor do we work in silos where where we have a simple front end or a simple back end, and it's just about connecting to the server. So those days are gone. So nowadays we are working on complex or large heterogeneous systems which involve multiple technologies. So you have a technology, different technology on the back end, you have different technology on the front end. So it's all getting complicated as we speak. But as from software developers, there's a lot of expectation from us software developers, because we have to write clean code, we have to ensure that our test cases pass, and all this has to be done against time. So the race is against time, as always. And in this case it becomes very important to have something that would help to ease out this process, or to help automate things in a way. So what are the challenges, or what are the things that have what are the things that we can use as software developers? Let's try to understand more on that in the upcoming slides. So as software professionals, we also need information to be available on the go. So when I say on the go, means something that can be easily accessed, whether you're in office or outside the office, or whether you're traveling. So in this for this actually we end up building up certain interactive dashboards or web portals, we spend a lot of time building that, but over the years it proves to be, I would say, futile, because you build up interactive portals, and then there's the overhead of even maintaining it. So going down the line, these portals, although they look very beautiful, and they look very the UI is very good, but at the end of the day, we have spent a lot of time in developing it. In addition, we need something that that is more, I would say, personalized. So in a DevOps kind of a scenario, we need answers to questions like when was the last build delivered, or how many test cases passed or failed, or what caused a break in the code. So these are certain questions that we need answers to at a very regular basis. So what are the challenges that we come across today? So one of the key challenges is about the dependency and communication that exist among team members, because we as software professionals are working in cross functional teams. So we have people from different backgrounds. So in this case, it is bound to happen that there is a requirement which is which has been developed by, say, a developer, but the tester cannot test that particular feature unless the developer has provided a build. So there is always a waiting period that that is involved. So there is always this communication gap that happens in many software projects. And even the slightest of miscommunication can cause a big problem in the end product. So this is one of the main challenges I feel. And the second challenge is about, I mentioned it in the previous slide, is about how the time we spend and the cost metrics that is involved in developing reporting based web portals. So we have all these web portals that we spend a lot of time developing, but at the end we do not actually use it in the way that we want to. So the need of the hour, I would say, or one of the challenges that exist, which is more prevalent, I would say, is on the personalization aspect. So we need something that is more personalized, and we need something that can withstand any kind of organizational culture or development methodology changes. So as in software projects, one need not quickly transition from, say, from a waterfall to an agile model. So it doesn't happen overnight. So if one has to transition, he has to basically do the knowledge knowledge transfer and all those things, which involves a lot of time. So how do we actually manage this, or how do we actually come up with a more efficient solution? So this is where I would like to talk about the my proposed solution. So my proposed solution basically involves creating a voice-based communication interface that uses natural human language. So this would actually leverage maybe the underlying CI framework as well. So DevOps would be an integral part of this framework, and it would use the APIs that will be exposed via the framework to basically monitor the build status, generate reports, and much more. And it would actually leverage the latest AI technology. So in this case, I'll be using, say, DialogFlow, for example, and this would actually help to create much more meaningful and natural conversations with the user. And the beauty of this is that all this could be done without having the need of any kind of a web based or a portal kind of a thing. So this would be seamless and more natural. So here's how the architecture of this solution would look like. So the architecture of this solution would basically consist of two building blocks, I would say. So one is like the integration block, and the other is called as a fulfillment block. So the integration block will actually involve something called as the intent matching. So the intent, if I had to explain what is an intent, so an intent basically is simply an end user's expression. So let's say you're saying, you just want to say, like, maybe to using a Google Assistant, you want to basically order some food from a restaurant. So you say, I would like to order, say, pizza from a restaurant. So maybe ordering is kind of an intent. So in this case, one would actually have to define a certain intent. So maybe in our case, it would be like to start a job, or to stop a build from taking place, or to know the build status, etc. So this can be certain intents. Now these intents, when they are matched, would basically invoke certain webhooks. So the intent matching, again, if we are using Dialogflow, will leverage the built-in rule based or the ML based grammar, which is already a part of the framework. So when this intent is matched and the webhooks are invoked, it would then subsequently call a webhook service, which in this case we would have, as software developers, we would have developed. So in this case, I have used a Hiraku, which is a platform as a service to host these particular services. And these services would then in turn interact with the APIs that would be exposed by the underlying framework. So here I would like to mention that I have tried it, this on multiple CI frameworks, but I have mentioned Jenkins here because Jenkins is again something that it's quite familiar. People are familiar with Jenkins, the fact that it is open source. So one can actually leverage this with any other framework as well, but this is basically to ensure that you are connecting to the framework and getting the data from the underlying CI or CD framework. So the overall, the architecture basically involves matching of the intent, calling of the webhook, and the calling of the internally the webhook service, and followed by the invocation of the APIs. So in return, the response that will be sent to the user will be something like, if you request for say the list of running jobs basically as an intent, so the in response you would basically get from the CI framework the list of running jobs which is there. So this is how the whole system would actually function. So the advantages of this kind of system are many, but let's discuss them in the next slide. So some of the key benefits of this kind of solution, as I mentioned, is that you can easily extend it to any other CI platforms without changing much, without changing much on the architecture level. You can actually help to obtain information easily, so you can use natural language. So since you're using natural language, there is no overhead involved in training a particular person, or using certain using training guides or manuals, so that overhead would be gone. And it easily allows people to remotely monitor the status. So you can use the voice assistant maybe on your phone, or maybe on your even smartwatches these days, so you can use that to easily monitor the status of your application without the need of accessing a portal from your office or something like that. And it helps to quickly transition also among team members. So the fact that I mentioned, that in case of an organization or a methodology change in your project, you could actually try not to worry, because in this case you do not have to spend more time in explaining it to other team members who have joined in. And since it's a voice based approach, and since you're using AI, I would say automatically personalization also happens, because with time the AI or the bot would basically learn from the user's the intents, and he would basically try to get more familiar with the user, and that is where personalization will also play an important factor. So moving on, what are the future scopes? What is the future scope, and what is the conclusion? That I'm trying to explain is that voice interfaces are something that are increasing at an exponential rate right now, and smartphones and tablets are already being personalized. But maybe in the future, one can expect maybe even smart glasses, or even say maybe smart I would say smart watches. In fact, also to be more personalized, and I would say the end result would be having better and more meaningful conversations. Yes, security is one aspect that you may ask, that how one would achieve that, but there is a lot of research already going on into that, which is maybe a separate topic for discussion. But maybe going forward, if these not hurdles are overcome, maybe one could expect a lot of tasks to be done using voice, and voice based automation could be the next big thing as well. So these are some of the references and links based on which I, presented my talk today. And once again, I would like to thank the entire team of the Mobile DevOps Summit for again giving me this opportunity. If you have any questions, please feel free, to get in touch with me. I have also put down the link to the solution video and the slides, which is I have mentioned it here on this slide. So please feel free to visit the link, and download the video of the solution. And if you have any questions, again, please feel free to get in touch with me. So once again, thank you, and have a nice day.